I, 30 female, have been dating Matt, 33 male, for about a year. Matt has a kid, Alex, from his first relationship. The kid is a toddler. Every now and then I used to look after Alex when Matt was at work. We don't live together, but they stay at mine every now and then. We decided to go on holiday for 10 days at the start of May, and due to some family drama, Alex had to go with us. The flights were over 8 hours long, and I booked the tickets for all of us. During the flight and the holiday, I spent nearly all my time looking after Alex, while Matt had the time of his life. Some things came to my attention. He was still seeing his ex, which resulted in us breaking up at the end of our stay. On the flight back, we were all sitting together, and a flight attendant approached us and asked my ex if he wanted an upgrade to the business class. Before he could say anything, I mentioned I bought the tickets and used my account to pay for them, so an upgrade should go to me. The flight attendant was trying to argue at first as she assumed Alex was my child, but I told her that was not the case and ended up having an upgrade so I could relax after spending all this time looking after Alex. After the flight, Matt, a few other passengers who assumed I was the mom, as well as some family members and friends, called me an idiot for not giving the upgrade to Matt. Even after I mentioned that the flight attendant didn't say anything about Alex being allowed to join Matt. So, am I the idiot for leaving my ex to sit and take care of his child and taking a business class upgrade to myself? Dang, OP, that sucks. Paying for a flight and a breakup, taking care of a child on your vacation. You by no means are the idiot. Heck, the nerve of the ex is unbelievable. It just makes me angry so much that I can't even begin to imagine your frustration. Honestly, I would say move on, but you seem to already be doing that, so I have nothing else to say. Oh, and by the way, the real idiot is the ex. Agreed. Holy moly. I'm exhausted from just thinking about it. This situation sounds like a nightmare. The audacity is unreal, and OP deserves so much better. The flight attendant is an idiot too. Why would it be okay to leave the mom with the kid but not the dad? Why did they not first offer to the person who bought the tickets, as that's where the priority should have been? They have a list of who they can upgrade based on their status with the airline. OP, file a complaint with the airline. How misogynistic of that flight attendant. Yeah, what in the actual world? So basically, you ended up being a nanny for your cheating boyfriend's child on your vacation that you paid for. Did I get that right? Sorry, OP, he just wanted a bang nanny. I bet it was probably nice to put some space between you and your brand new ex, with such a long flight too. What would he do? Take the upgrade and leave his young kid with the woman he just broke up with? There's no world in which that makes any sense. I've seen that happen a lot. Women dating men with a child under 5 should approach the relationship cautiously. I would clearly have stated loudly to anyone commenting, I'm not even related to this kid or the dad. I'm just the idiot that was used to pay for the trip and then had this child dumped on me the whole time. I'm not even in a relationship with this deadbeat. So never make judgments when you don't have a clue. Darn, girl. After absolutely everything you've said, not one thing points to you being the idiot. I'm sorry you've even felt the need to ask this. I've been playing with yo-yos my whole life, since I was 5 probably. My uncle taught me how to use one. I've used them in talent shows. I've even been on TV news and on a show demonstrating tricks. I've even worked for a company that makes them on a demo team. I know. Women want me and men want to be me. My brother cannot use one to save his life. He can't understand the hand movements. That's fine. He has many good qualities. Unfortunately, forethought is not one of them. I have boxes of starter yo-yos. They're lightweight and easy to learn with. I also have a bunch of balls that have a self-retracting mechanism inside, so you can get used to the feel. I was showing off for the kids last weekend at a family birthday party. Everyone wanted one. I went to my garage and got a box of the freebies. My nephew kept looking at my Maplewood yo-yo. He wanted that one. I said no. He went crying to his dad, who went to our mom. She came stomping over with my idiot brother. She said that I had hundreds of yo-yos and that I could give one to my nephew. I said it was a bad idea. I explained that my yo-yos are set up for professional use. Ladies, please keep your panties and DMs to yourselves. She insisted, and my brother started insulting me for playing with toys at my age. So I took my nephew and I gave him a ball and a starter yo-yo. I told him to start with the ball until he got the feel for it, then the light plastic one. I told him only to use the fancy one after he was sure of himself. 10 minutes. 10 darn minutes later, my sister-in-law's bringing him to the bathroom because he hit himself in the mouth. I couldn't help but laugh. My brother is angry because his wife is mad that he got his son a wooden Morning Star. My mother appears to have forgotten her part in this play because she's mad at me. My brother told me that I had to pay the dentist bill to get the rest of the baby tooth out. Am I the idiot for laughing when my nephew got hurt and knocked out a tooth with a toy my brother insisted that I give him? Not the idiot. You explained the risk, told the kid not to use the big one until he practiced, and told your brother not to give it to him because it was dangerous. He insisted that he was the parent and had the ultimate decision-making power regarding giving his child something dangerous, and then leaving him unsupervised with it. You did your best to teach your nephew how to start, but everyone else knew better, and look what happened. Bro messed around and found out at his kid's expense. I do feel bad for the kid, but, it's important to learn that dad is sometimes a dingbat early on. I suspect the child had a better learning takeaway than a parent's. I'm from a culture where if a child doesn't listen to a warning and goes on to fall or experience a small injury, the adults say something like, "That's how you'll learn." If they're older, they might get the equivalent of, "That's what you get for acting like a dum-dum." That was my grandparents. It was always, "I guess you won't do that next time." And they were usually right, too. OP, you sound like a fun uncle to have. When he's a bit older, the kid will remember this with amusement. It sounds like he shares your passion. Maybe tell them you're not going to pay the dentist bill, but you'll babysit and give him some proper lessons so he can play safely. My young teen son, Evan, and young teen nephew, Jack, are best friends. Jack has an attitude problem, and up until recently, I've avoided it. Yesterday, Jack was over at my house, and I found out that Evan left his lights, fan, etc. all on in his room before going to school. My electric bill is outrageous, and I've discussed this with him. I told Evan that I'll take his phone away the next time he doesn't turn things off in his room. So I took his phone away when he came home with Jack. Evan was upset, and Jack told me I just couldn't take his phone away like that. I told him to mind his own business and his mouth before I took his phone away too. He said I wasn't allowed to take his phone away, so I did. I said, "Go complain to Daddy," my brother. Both boys were livid with me, and Jack asked to go home, so I dropped him off. Of course, my brother called me and demanded that I return the phone. I asked him if his child learned his lesson, and he said I was over the line. I said once Jack apologizes and agrees to mind his business, I'll return it. This morning at school, he and my brother came up to me and apologized, and I gave it back. After the boys left to go to school, my brother said, "Don't you ever take my kid's phone away." I told him he wasn't lost in the woods, and this wouldn't have happened if you hadn't spoiled him and raised a brat. Shame on you and your ex. He and his ex believe taking a phone away from your kid is borderline abuse. Edit. We live down the street from their middle school, and my brother lives 5 miles away. That's why I couldn't kick my nephew out. I promise you, my nephew won't run his mouth at me again, and I didn't give the phone back on purpose. I wanted to make my brother angry, so he'd have to deal with the crying young teen brat all night. You are the idiot. Mind your business and raise your kid. This kid sounds like a normal young teen, and you had no business taking his phone in the first place. Your brothers are nicer than I am, though. If someone stole my kids' things, we'd be showing up with the police to collect them. Calling the cops on your sibling over a phone is insane. Way to escalate by 100. It's called talking, LMFAO. Taking away electronics is a bad punishment style. It's completely unrelated to the failure to remember to turn off the lights. It likely doesn't help him to remember in the future. It's just an arbitrary way for you to express anger at him and to hurt him. Get better punishments. I agree with this. My son constantly forgets to bring his dirty plates and glasses up from the basement where he plays Xbox. The only thing that has worked is making him walk back down the stairs to get his dishes and bring them up. Enough times of having to go back downstairs after coming up is getting him to finally remember. No amount of taking away his phone will make him remember this. Also, what kind of bulbs do you use that they still affect your electric bill? The cost of leaving it on 24 hours is roughly 16 cents. Yeah, you overreacted. My sister was a single mom to Ava, a female tween, before she married last year. It was just the two of them before my sister met Nick and moved in with him and his kids. Now it's Nick, my sister, Nick's 3 kids who are preteens or teenagers, and Ava. Ava never met her dad. Ava's always had social problems. This isn't even the first time I've raised my concerns about Ava with my sister. But now that it's no longer the two of them, it is presenting itself far more and causing far more issues than before. These social problems are generally related to how she talks to people. She tells them what she likes because her brain says her interests are best, and everyone else should like them because other things are dumb. She gets angry when this is challenged or ignored by others, to the point she'll yell at them. But then she can't figure out why they get mad right back at her. And I do believe her that she doesn't understand. It both upsets and confuses her. She can't understand why kids in school bully her, or why she can never keep a friend. She also invites herself into games uninvited, and then gets upset or mad when plans that were not planned with her are kept, like playing with the neighborhood kids and getting upset that they want to go to the park, which they plan to do already because the park is awful, and she hates it. She became inconsolable when it happened. There are times I've attempted to explain to Ava why people don't want to do what she does. She looked at me like I was crazy and went into a very detailed description of why her interests are best and why everyone should love them. She's been like this with Nick's kids, and my sister and Nick see themselves as a family, so they treat it like, oh, they all have to get along in some ways. But it's clear Nick's kids do not like Ava, and they've made it perfectly clear that she's not family in their eyes. They're ice cold to her and angry around her most of the time. Then it bubbles over like a couple of days ago when Ava turned off their console because she decided they would all play together, not video games. This resulted in the oldest yelling and cursing at Ava, calling her names, saying everyone hates her. She's such a burden to have around, and they wish they could send her away forever and never see her again. Ava had a huge meltdown and was screaming she didn't understand. My sister said that this went on for hours. It freaked her and Nick out, but it still didn't give her the encouragement to seek help for Ava. All that came from that was Nick's kids were punished. This is where I came in and told my sister she needed to get Ava help and that she couldn't keep ignoring her problems. I told her Ava deserves help because she doesn't seem capable of grasping everything. There is very possibly a valid reason for that, and maybe it needs to be explained a certain way. My sister didn't take too kindly to me interfering and told me I was overstepping. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Ava sounds like she may be neurodivergent. She won't grow out of that, but she can learn new ways to interact with people and manage her emotions and reactions to others. She needs individual therapy, and it sounds like the whole family could benefit from therapy as well. The other kids are well on their way to growing an unhealthy resentment and hatred of Ava, which will only worsen as long as your sister and Nick put it off. A happy blended family doesn't just happen over time. It actually takes hard work, and that starts with the parents meeting the needs of each individual child. Right now, your sister and Nick are failing all the kids. While I try to avoid armchair diagnosis, this sounds an awful lot like autism. If you can, gently speak to your sister about it. Maybe do some research yourself first, too. Ava deserves support to live her best life and understand her brain. You're right about Ava. She needs help. All of the kids are some combination of confused, distressed, frightened, and angry. This isn't fair to anyone. Her mother must stop getting in the way and start paving it instead. My parents divorced when I was young. My dad cheated on my mom. Afterward, Dad married his mistress, and Mom stayed single but made her way up and was able to provide me and my siblings a good life. As of late, I've been working as a waitress. I want to buy a car, but doing chores wasn't enough, and my mom wouldn't give me any extra chores, so I took the job. I started saving my checks and tips. Every other weekend, my dad and his family's been coming over. Lately, though, I've started noticing that my money's been going missing. It started with $1 or $5 missing, but it's gotten aggressively more, like $20 to $30 are missing. My savings have gone from 500 to roughly 300. I brought this up to my family, but they expressed on multiple occasions they haven't taken it. I tried putting it in different places, but it still goes missing. I caught my dad's kids hanging around my room and sitting outside of it. I asked them to stay away from my room, but they got offended and told their mom that I didn't want to hang out with them. It always ended in an argument. When I got home from work 3 to 4 weeks ago, they were in my room and taking money from my savings. I yelled at them to return the money and get out of my room. My dad and their mom heard me yelling and came up to see what I was yelling about. They were on my side and grounded them. Apparently, their kids had been taking my money, and they explained that they had been coming home with money, but they had no idea where they got it from and gave me a 50 as an apology. Now whenever I go out, I start locking my door. I mean, every day. Even when they're not there, I lock my door. They've started to take offense to this. They keep telling me there's no need for me to lock my door and that they make sure that their kids aren't around my room anymore. But like I lost so much money from this. They didn't work those 8-hour shifts. I did, and they got the money from it. But it was like their kids didn't know any better. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your dad and stepmom should have had the kids give back all the money taken or replaced it themselves, not just $50 as an apology. They still owe you about $150. Keeping your door locked is reasonable to me. Can you get a bank account, a credit union account, or something similar? Keeping cash around is always a bit risky. Can you get them in an orphanage or juvie or similar? Keeping little thieves around is always a bit risky. You sound like the type, but why are you wearing a skirt? You know. OP's hard-earned cash, OP's room. Heck, it would have been up to her if she wanted to make a mattress out of it in her room. She should be comfortable in her zone. Screw those kids. OP, so your dad brings his new wife and kids to your mom's house to visit? Your mom is a saint to allow this. Of course you'll lock your door. I did the same thing after I caught one of my siblings stealing money from my room. To make matters worse, my sister only stole coins I'd saved for years. By this, I mean collectible coins, collected through average transactions, and spent them all on things my mom also willingly gave her money for. When I put a lock on my door, the bullying persisted for weeks. It was only because they couldn't steal from me anymore. They never intended to stop. My mom even told me last year she was angry because if my sister could take money from me, then she asked my mom for less. Don't let them bully you or make you feel bad. If it makes them feel bad about themselves, they need to do some self-reflection and maybe work on themselves.